Okay, so biochar. So biochar has been getting a lot of interest recently, and so I thought might as well add it to the course. So what is biochar? Biochar is basically charcoal, which is produced in a process called pyrolysis. So it's a very slow burning of wood with no oxygen. And so this allows for the charcoal essentially to maintain more carbon than normal charcoal. And so you can see here we have a tree. We basically burn it in a box with no oxygen, and we get biochar at the end. Now, biochar has similar benefits to soil organic matter, but I'm pretty sure it's more resilient, so it lasts for a longer time. Typically, it's best to activate your biochar. So you want to hydrate it with water. So you put some water in it. We want to mineralize it with minerals and nutrients as needed. It's biochar, because it has the really high cation exchange capacity, it reduces leaching of those nutrients. And we also want to inoculate it with microbes and biostimulants. So we get basically all the benefits in a spreadable material that we can spread out. Now, this can be applied as broadcast or in furrow at high rates. Now, how much do we apply? And this is where I'm a bit cautious of biochar. So you need, so there's about 4,200 tons of soil in the top hectare, per hectare of soil in the top 30 centimeters. Biochar is about 80% carbon, which means to increase soil organic carbon by just 1%, in the top 30 centimeters, you need to apply 52 tons of biochar. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Now at $1,250 per ton, that's going to work out to be $65,000 a hectare. Now, that's a lot. You simply won't get your return on that. Now, I might be wrong. You might not have to apply it that much, but in terms of this conversation of increasing soil organic carbon, simply this from it, like for almost every grower, this is not achievable. You can't produce soil organic carbon at depth with biochar. Now, just to further this point, to produce 52 tons of biochar, this is the math. So if production is about 15 to 40% efficient, let's say 34%, meaning that you need almost 150 tons of wood to produce that much biochar, which is 30 trees at 5 tons each. So essentially, we're taking fertility from one place and then putting it somewhere else, which it's a bit negative on that end. The other problem with biochar is that it can be highly basic, which might be able to help in really acidic soils. It can balance that out, but it can also cause problems in soils that already have a high pH. So my personal view, as you probably guessed, biochar has great benefits, but it is very impractical, expensive, and has a net negative on the ecosystem. So if you're looking at building soil organic carbon to reduce carbon emissions into the atmosphere, burning trees or removing trees, burning them, and then transferring that fertility into a field isn't the best way of doing it. The liquid carbon pathway seems to be the most promising for wide-scale application, and it's also net positive. And I know you can grow the trees back, but wouldn't it be so much better just to grow grass and then produce the liquid carbon pathway? Now, it might be helpful on small scale, so high value horticulture, or in livestock feed, which has some pretty interesting application. But really, if you were to do 200,000 hectares, or even 1,000 hectare farm, that's going to be a very costly exercise if you want to increase your soil organic carbon by just 1%. Whereas the liquid carbon pathway, you can easily increase your soil organic carbon by 5% in a few years.